everybody. Bill Thornton, SoCal Saber here. How you all doing today or this evening? Well, anyway, I was sitting here and I was thinking about my album collection, and I thought I'm just going to go live and talk about a few things. I don't know why. I've been a music lover, as you see all my hats and shirts and everything ever since rock and roll 50s, the mid 50s, when I was in my like 10, 11 years old with Elvis and Chuck Berry and all them. Well, anyway, I went into the military, so I never really, when we still had a lot of music, but I never really got into buying music media, till probably, I'm going to say the late 70s, early 80s. And then I started buying albums, 45s, and started collecting them. And I thought, I guess I could call myself a collector. I probably got 300 or so albums. But there came a point in time where I don't know if it was early 90s, whenever it was for me, that the albums were dying out, and not dying out, going away, and very hard to find. And cassettes and CDs came on board and kind of pushed them out of the way. Well, I did do some cassettes there for a while, but I really didn't like cassettes, and I did get into CDs, and I bought CDs for quite a few times. I don't know, maybe I got about 600 CDs or something. Well, anyway, when COVID started, I says, one of my goals is I'm going to listen to all of my albums one more time. I'm going to go through all of them. When I reached 100 of them, I did a countdown review of the ones the top 10 that I liked the most. Didn't matter who they were by or what the music or arrangements or anything were. It's just what I liked. Then I did another 75 and 175, and I did another countdown. I'm going to be, when I'm all done, I'm going to take all the top 10s and put them together. But I'm getting ready to do another one because I'm about 50 albums into another one. I think I'm going to keep them at 50s. But when I started these last 50s, all of a sudden, I really started thinking about my collection, and I says, and then I started seeing stuff on Amazon and some otherwhere, and albums had reemerged, and I had no idea that there were so many new stuff and reissue stuff and remaster stuff out there. So, I did a search for record shops up in here in the high desert, and I found one that it's called Wisecrack Records. So I've been out there a couple of times, because going to the record stores was a once a week thing for me for a long, long time. Even my kids knew that every Saturday we'd go down to the commissary. Even in the military, we'd take our groceries home, and then we'd go down to the BX and see if there was any new albums in and buy a new album. I even did that after I got out of the military with the little record stores and everything. So finally found another record store, and I'm really happy about that, because now I can go out there and check it out, and I started to add some things. But I started to find out so much about how to properly care for an album collection that I never knew before. I never knew back in the days, the 70s, 80s, maybe the early 90s. We didn't have social media like we have now. If it was high tech, you had a pager and maybe a Commodore 64 as your computer in the 80s. And so there wasn't a lot of internet, a lot of stuff to learn from, ways to learn. But I have learned. I am learning, and I enjoy it. So I'm putting more time into my obsession with albums, vinyl albums, and I bought some new ones and there so forth, and I'm reoccurring everything. But some of the stuff that has happened, like back in the 80s and 90s, if you went into somebody's house, you probably always see one of these. It's called disc washer. I still have mine. You can't find them anymore. You can find them on eBay, but the company went out of business in the, I guess, in the early 2000s. And some guys are still swear that this is the best brush around. That's why I'm going to keep it. This is the brush that you get, and this is the stuff that used to come with it. But this stuff was taken off the market because I guess they declared it as toxic, and so they had to take it off. But anyway, I still have some of it. I still use it on my old records, not on my new ones, not on the ones I've recent person. I've been using them on my albums for many, many years. And so I kept that. But also, as I was learning a little bit more, I went out and I bought another thing. I bought another set, and it's called Groove Washer. This by no means is an advertisement for them or anything. I bought this myself. Nobody gave this to me. The reason I bought it was for two reasons. I get my fingers all messed up here. That red thing there, that's what I put on your spindle and covers your label. So if you use that G2 fluid, spray it on there, it's not going to get on your do damage to your label. And then that black thing in the back is another brush that you can use to take the dust off and so forth. And then the little white bottle is a cleaning fluid that you put on the black thing that looks like a toothbrush. That's for cleaning your stylus. I don't know when my stylus was ever cleaned before. So I picked this kit up here so I can start taking care of my stylus and my labels and so forth. Then, I don't know. I even forget what year he died in. My son passed away, and he had probably 40 or 50 albums that I took out of where he was living, and I took them home. I put them in that front closet, standing up on there, and never looked at them. And it's been years now. So about I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I said I'm going to pull them out. So I pulled them out. And I started looking at them, and I could see right off the bat that my son didn't take real good care of his covers and so forth like that. And and so I was really worried about playing them on a turntable, even though my turntable's old, which I'm thinking about maybe I should get a new one. But anyway, so I says I want to clean them. So I did some research. YouTube is great for finding things about vinyl albums and so forth. And so I heard these guys were talking about a system, a thing called Spin Clean. They talked about 3 or 4 different types of dishwashers, all the way up to vacuums and all kinds of stuff that are really expensive. But I guess the Spin Clean system has been around for a long time. First I'd heard of it. So out of about 10 reviews I watched on it, 9 of them, the guys were really happy, satisfied with what it does. So they said it was between $100 and $125. So I found it on Amazon for $68. And I went out and picked it up. For the primary purpose is I'm going to try to save my son's albums, and I want to clean all of his albums before I even put them on a turntable. It's a really nice system for how you do it with distilled water and cleaner and brushes and putting them in there and twisting. But anyway, that's my primary purpose. But then I was thinking, some of my albums are over 40 years old. So, and they've been around the world, some of them, so they could be a little bit dirty. So I'm going to clean some of them too. If they look like they're a little bit fingerprinted and stuff, I'm going to give them a clean in. But my son's albums first to get them back in. Well, then I started to look at the videos and the different things, and I realized, boy, I really never took care of my album collection properly. And I'll show you what we used to do. I don't know how many people ever did this. Back in the day, buy an album, take the cover, the shrink wrap off, throw it away. That's it. Oh, I got it backwards. No, I even thought I was smart because I wanted to make a database and enter my albums in the database. So I put this little sticker up here with the number. So I put the number in the database. So if you want a Neil Diamond, you can look and say, it's okay, it's album number 219. Well, little did I know that just that thing right there takes down the quality of the cover. I don't have any intention of selling them, but I like to keep them as nice and high quality for whoever gets them next. So then another thing I used to do, I'll turn it over. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. Yeah, I think you will. Right up here, you can see Love on the Rocks, and you can see that little line through it. Well, that's what I used to do. It's a pencil or a pen, and I would line through any song that I recorded off of there onto my Sansui or my Akai reel-to-reel, which I still have. That's another story. But anyway, so that detracts from it too. All right. So what am I doing? What am I doing here? So I says I'm going to try to keep them the best that I can from some. They're not all like this, but a lot of them are the best that I can for now. And I'm going to pay some more attention to my album collection. I've got Cowboy collections and Hard Rock hat collections and Hard Rock glasses collections, and I got 300 and something board games, and a lot of board games I put a lot of time into. So I says I got to start paying a little bit more attention to what I'm doing with this. And so, then the album inserts. All right, so what I've learned and the route I've gone with, so I'll show you one of the newer albums that I just bought. It's Alan Parsons, from the New World, just released this year. You see this cover I got on here? This is a sleeve, all right? And I took the old shrink wrap off and I put it inside this sleeve. But I'll show you what else I do, okay? You flip it over, you can see an album. You say, oh boy, did you just drop that album inside that sleeve? Well, the answer is yes and no, because I'll pull it out and show you. I'm starting to put these ones into these sleeves. So, and these they're not paper sleeves, because I understand that every time you take an album in and out of paper, that wears down on the tracks, and so are the grooves and so forth. And so this is here, and I drop it in the back. So you can still look and see what was outside one. Pull it out if you want to play it. Pull it out if you want to look at the back. But you have it inside of two sleeves. The original insert is inside. And I put these in here this through the top. I'll show you why. Okay, they're through the top of there. The reason being, when I put them in, I tried this and then I went online and I saw some guys saying the same thing that was happening to me. Let's just say I put it inside of the sleeve with the opening on the outside like this. I put it inside there. What was happening when I was pushing it into the storage area, the sleeves would pull back. That was causing a problem. And that caused a lot of problems. So then I ran across a couple of guys and say, well, it's not too much of a bigger deal, but it'll save you a lot of hassle just to drop them in the top. I'll go in here very easily, except what I'm trying to show you. So when you drop it in the top, like I just did, then when you push it, the whole sleeve goes in with it. Wonders, huh? Wonders. So that's what I'm doing now. As I'm replaying the songs, playing the old albums and the new albums. If the old album is really bad, I won't try to save it with sleeves, but like this one here, yeah, it's going to have a little ding, and I'm going to write it down when I go to, then when I put it in Discogs. Now, that's another thing that I just found out about. There's Discogs, discogs.com. That's like the gigantic database and know-it-all for all types of music media. If you want to go in there and enter Pink Floyd, it'll come up, it'll give you all the listings of everything from Pink Floyd, whether it's on LPs or CDs or cassettes or whatever, and the reissues and all of that stuff. So, but then you can enter your collection. And when you're entering your collection, it'll ask you what's the status: good, poor, fair, bad, good, very good, up and down. So I'm trying to be as honest as I can. And it actually gives you a monetary estimate of what your album's running for right now. This is a lot of fun. I don't have no plans to sell my album, or I wouldn't be still buying some. But anyway, that's been what I've been doing with my albums for, I don't know, 3 months maybe, since I started getting into this. And I watch a podcast about every night on my board games, and then I watch one on the albums. And so I'm ready to go. And in a little while, you're going to see me come and do with another review. I've just finished 50 albums, and I'm going to be going through and making my choices of top 10 and maybe some honorable mentions, and then I will come out and do it. I do have 2 other ones out in my channel, so if we want to see them, go out and look there for the top albums. So from whenever you're watching this, leave me some comments down there in the comments channel. Hit that like button if you would. Subscribe to if you haven't done so yet, and help the channel grow. This is So-Called Saber. Thank you for watching and listening to my ramblings about my vinyl record collection. So until you see or hear from me again, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and stay safe.